Just a few short days ago, I was up with my stepfather putting in some trees up here for the spring planting at Bonsai Acres. And I just couldn't pass up another beautiful day. It's a Wednesday. I took a half day off of work and I came right back up to Bonsai Acres because, you know, I've got a lot of trees to put in the ground. We put in 50 of 150 last time. But before I could come up here again, there was something I had to do that was really important. It was time to say goodbye. It was time to say goodbye to Bonsai Acres 1.0. So let's back up just a little bit and go back to just a couple of days ago, the day after I was here with my stepfather, and just 3 days ago, I was at Bonsai Acres in Lake Elmo, and we had to do some more digging, but this time we had to take the trees out of the ground. I just got those goosebump vibes through my body. We're at Bonsai Acres, part 1, in Lake Elmo, Minnesota. A big shout out to Neil Kruger for Kruger Tree Farms to allow me to experiment for the last 5 years on this little parcel of land. Welcome to Bonsai Acres. Very excited. I've been out here with the first trees, 2020, we put some in the ground. Fraser, balsam fir, some Canaans, some Korean fir, and then red and white pines. Now the red and whites are doing fantastic. They're the bigger, bushier ones. We found out that the Korean firs are doing a fantastic job of showing back buds on branches and on old wood, and the white pines as well. So as always, walking around the trees today, looking at what we've got, taking an inventory. We have to dig all of these out today though. That's right, it is the end of the road for Bonsai Acres 1.0. So Toby's here, my buddy Kale is here. He's lining up the buckets over there. We got a shovel or two and we gotta get busy. But first, you just gotta take some time to look at the trees. There's nothing like looking to see where the twists and turns and what happened with maybe a deer or death, and has to be one of my favorite trees in the property. So when I wired these up a couple years ago, I left the wire on a couple of trees. And so they just got so gnarly, twisted and overgrown over the wire. But now this is like my favorite tree in the property. It's got this gnarly scar look on here. All of these scars here, they're gonna eventually be, you won't even know there was wire on there in a couple more years. But a real thick, robust trunk, this new branch over here. And look at right here between the fingers, everybody. That's back budding on a white pine. I can cut almost everything off of this tree in a couple of years, and that is the future of the tree. And there's a new bud on there ready to shoot up this year. So fantastic. And up the tree a little bit more, there's a back bud back here on the same tree. So we can literally cut this entire chunk of tree off. But it's so cool with all the movement and twisty. It looks like a tree up in the mountains that have dealt with the wind and the hail and the storms. And oh my gosh, fantastic. I can't wait to put this somewhere at Bonsai Acres up north and keep that one going. That's gonna be fun. And then sometimes you have a tree like this that I did not wire. This is another white pine, and it sticks straight right here. And then we don't have a division till up here, but this whorl looks pretty good. It's healing nice, and it just looks like a natural split here. And we've got the attempts of a back bud right in there. It's kind of hard to see by my finger, but we got a back bud in there. But if I cut this entire chunk off right here, I got a really weird looking tree, but we've got healthy buds there, healthy buds at the tip, little brown section here, but that's old needles. But this is just tall and kind of ugly. Will it ever become a bonsai tree? I don't know. But this is the kind of tree that I'll still keep today. We'll bring this up to Bonsai Acres 2.0 up north, put this in the ground, and this might be a really cool tree just on the property. It might not ever have to be a bonsai, but we're gonna have some pretty cool trees up there. And in stark contrast, this was planted the same year. And look at how bushy this one is. Now this one has all kinds of growth down below. And here's the main trunk, everybody. And look, if I cut this entire trunk off right here, all of this is the new bonsai, but then I have a trunk that is 2 inches in diameter down below. So we just get rid of this tall sacrificial branch up here and look at all this young growth down here, back budding on old wood and thickening up. So we went from that tall one to this bushy one. This experiment is working, and we're gonna have trees up at Bonsai Acres that people, I hope, will maybe desire in just a couple more years. Now, I thought when I put these in the ground in 2020 and 2021 and 2, I thought the red pines would be the ones to back bud more and show more of that. And I always heard that the white pines, I've said this a ton of times on my show, that the whites wouldn't show back budding on old wood. But here are the red pines, and they're all getting kind of tall and scraggly. Now, what they do is produce older bark quicker. So these already look like older trees, and they're only a couple of years in the ground. Fabulous. But now as you pull back here and look at this branch, again, I could take this entire sacrificial branch and keep this fun curvy branch down here because it's splitting right here. There's 5 buds or 6 buds back here. There's buds on all of these tips. That's the future of this tree. Maybe it'll become a cool literati someday. Hard to say. But they don't back bud as regularly as the whites. And so we'll just have to continue to experiment, maybe cut them back sooner, maybe fertilize them heavier. This is kind of a back bud on old wood, but it's, a foot off the ground. We need branches down here to make this a better bonsai down the road. So if I cut all this top up here, it'll put energy here, and maybe we get back budding down back over here. We're in the middle of chopping trees. Tobe, did you order pizza?
I didn't order pizza.
So this is how wonderful Neil Kruger is, everybody. We're out at the tree farm. This is his land. He donated this land for us to put trees in. We've had him here for 5 years. And I'm sorry, I don't even know who that was.
John's wife.
So
yeah.
One of the family members' wives, who now own this, is taking over for Neil someday, comes over with a box of pizza and some fruit and a napkin. Talk about customer service, right? And I'm not buying anything.
Yeah, no.
I mean, they lent us this land for zero, and they're just the nicest people in the world. So again, a shout out to Neil Kruger and the Kruger Tree Farm. If you're ever in Lake Elmo, Minnesota, you better get your Christmas trees right here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As we keep taking out some of these wonderful trees out of the ground for future bonsai. If we go back to footage from about 2 or 3 years ago, this tree that I'm digging up right now was chopped by the lawnmower because I was going too fast. And I thought it was toast. And look at here. We have a tree that survived the lawnmower. And it might be a twin trunk here. Look at that. Be careful where you walk. We did it. We didn't keep track, but we at least, I think, dug out 100 trees for sure. I don't know if you're familiar with the TV show or the book Holes. We were not neck deep in holes today, but boy, we got a few of them. We kept all the trees that we thought were worth saving. We had to throw a couple of dozen of them off because they just didn't quite fit the bill. The roots were tough. Maybe some fungus issues on a couple of them. But the end of the era right here, it's Bonsai Acres 1.0 coming to a close. That means we have to go plant all those trees up there in Bonsai Acres 2.0. So my thanks to Kale, my thanks to Toby. Oh, what a beautiful day. The sun came out and now we're gonna go rest up and put some trees in the ground. This is fantastic. Don't hurt yourself.
There's some holes around here.
And so now as we pan through Bonsai Acres, we've got a couple of more whites in the ground over here on the left side. We've got a couple more reds in the ground over here. In the middle, I have some of the Korean firs that are doing so well and back budding very, very nice. You can see how robust these trees look with all kinds of buds. So they are really, really liking at least the land there in Lake Elmo. Let's see if they like it up here. I also have something really special to show you today. Let's check this out. Can anybody remember this twin trunk? This was the tree that I butchered with the lawnmower about 3 years ago. It's a survivor. So it is a twin trunk pine tree that was demolished by the lawnmower because I was going too fast. Have I ever done that before? And now it's up here at Bonsai Acres. We're gonna cross our fingers that's gonna love life up here. So I am amongst the trees. So we now in here have over 50 trees. We are making headway here. Now we have room for probably another 10 to 20 more. That's getting a little bit sketchy. We got the brand new maples in here. Got the brand new maples in the ground. We got a couple of maples spread out. We've got the willows over here. We're gonna let those grow tall. And then we've got on the outside peripherals, we got all these little tiny jack pines. Yeah. We got the little tiny jack pines here on the periphery. But we still have some space in there, lots of space for lots of trees. I didn't bring enough up. I couldn't fit enough in my car. Now I do have the bucket of the jack pines, the maples, and the weeping willows. So we're gonna find a couple of special spots for those now and then wrap them up so the deer and the rabbit don't get them. Oh, let's go check the other trees that Yogi and I put in, my stepdad. Let's see if the rabbits and the deer got those. As I head closer to the new fenced-in area, which is just chicken wire and a couple of garden stakes, a viewer said to me, hey Dave, you might want to put some stakes at the bottom of that chicken wire. Keep those rabbits out of there. Well, let's see if I have to worry about that after just 4 days. And here we are with the fence line. We've got 2 fences. Whew, almost fell down the hill there. So we got the row right here and the row right here. And it looks like the trees have been left alone. No nibbles, no buds gone. Let's go over here. Yep, a couple of pines, but that one's bent over. Gotta get a good curve out of that one. Here we go. So nothing affected the trees this time around. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that's not going to happen this evening when I leave, or tomorrow, or this weekend. So what I hope to do now is possibly get one more row of trees in here and then close this fence off. And so again, deer could jump up these easily and even stick their heads over here and eat. But the more things I have clumped together right now, maybe the less likely they'll be to meander in and out of there. I don't know. This is all an experiment. And I got to get the trees in the ground, and I can't get them all today, but I got to start, and then hopefully we'll get some more this coming weekend. So I'm going to put a couple of trees in the ground. As a matter of fact, I have a couple that look a little bit more like a traditional Christmas tree. Look at this one. It looks like a really itty bitty Christmas tree. Less bones I like. So I'm going to put those somewhere, maybe in the entryway, maybe a couple of spots along the edges here, because I just want a lot of trees on the property, period. Whether they all become bonsai or not is a different story. Oh, and by the way, did you catch an eye on this guy over here? I had that in the open real quick. I want to see if anybody picked up on that. So this is my logo planting, the logo of my bonsai acres of larch trees. And so for inspiration this trip, I brought up this forest. So the logo tree is here keeping me company, thinking about all those trees back there and what they're going to do. Now, before I dig some more, I want to talk a couple things through with you. And so let's go back up to the top of the hill and let's give you a couple of things that I'm thinking about for Bonsai Acres. As you come in from the driveway into Bonsai Acres, we got the shed right away on the right-hand side, left to you and I right now. And we come down, and this is the area I cleared that leads down to all the trees down there. And that's the furthest I've driven my truck, or my car rather, down there. I got it down there okay. I didn't want to carry those trees one by one all the way from the shed. I'm not getting any younger, you know. Between the trees and the pump shed area, this is where it goes uphill to the highest part of the property. And I think that's where we're going to put a couple of structures. Now, if you're not caught up on the well situation and the pump situation, check out the video up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen and see what I found out in the last vlog, 2 vlogs ago actually, about the pump and the septic system. But I said in the last vlog with my stepfather Yog that I had some good news. Again, more on that in a little bit. Let's check out this hillside. For some reference, remember when you come in from the shed, you go straight down and then you go and work on the trees down there. But as you go up this hillside, you come up to this section of poplars. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, I was working in the pine grove in there and clearing all that area out. I got a lot of stuff to chip into mulch. But right there is this grove of poplar trees, and it's the highest part of the property. So right in this area is the highest part of the property, and I can see the shed from here. I can see the dilapidated larch bog forest over there. I can see the trees right there. There's this nice kind of downhill slope to what gets a little soupy in the spring, but a little bit drier in the fall and of course winter, and a beautiful view out west where the sun's gonna be setting over there. The beautiful poplar grove and the pines right here. I'm kind of centrally located on the property. And so what am I gonna put here? I have a couple of decisions to make because I want to make a bathhouse or a shower house, and I want to have a mini cabin. Then I also want to have kind of a workshop structure, but that'll be more open air. So those are 3 things I'm considering building. So let's get you updated on the septic system. So last week I promised some good news, and here it is. So this is the current septic system, just a 4-inch pipe tube system that was attached to their trailer home, I believe, and the waste went down in there, boom. And when the septic lady, the designer, was out here, we were looking for an out. Like, where is it all going? Or is it in a holding tank? We just couldn't find the cover. We tried to knock the cover off. It wouldn't come up. And then he just did this. And then we just took it off. Yeah. You can't hear it, but now you can see it. Yeah, gross. Yeah, there's stuff down there. So this probably would not pass inspection. So I would probably need the new septic system. That's not the good news, but the good news is that the guy who was out here looking at this saying, yeah, well, if this isn't gonna pass, when I come out here and put a new one in, I'll just abate this thing right there, and that'll save you a ton of money. Because if I come out here and abate this now, it's gonna cost you $3,000. But because his excavator stuff will already be out here and he'll be installing the septic system, he'll just dig a couple times, crumple things up, and then take care of what he needs to take care of. Now I still need to figure out if the cap is right here. So when the septic designer comes back out here, she's gonna take a peek at this and just put like a light down there and just kind of see what kind of tank it is. And that's just gonna give us the final saying like, yeah, this is not gonna pass based on her experience, or if I actually have her do a test on it. But I don't know if I wanna spend the money on that. If it's more than likely, 90% probably plus chance it's gonna fail anyway. So I'm gonna dig this out next and see if we can get the cap, or at least find the cap. I've gotten about 2 feet down, maybe 1.5 feet. That's probably not 2 feet, but I don't see a cap of any sort. So I'm just gonna keep digging here and see if I can come up with something. It's the tube is wobbling down below, so I might be close to where it touches a cap of some sort, because it's kind of wobbly. Okay, it's hard to see with the shadows because of the sun and the angle it's at, but here's the little sound test for you. So that is something. Now if I take this off, there we go. This is where we were before, but then gotta get all this loose dirt out of here. Although again, this isn't gonna pass most likely. Well, look at that, it goes down. Oh, look at that, there it is. Yeah, the little flashlight didn't quite do good enough to see, although I did see another tube coming down this direction from somewhere. So I don't know if that'll tell her more when she comes to check this out, but I don't know if this was just for venting purposes, but it did have other tubes that looked like stuff, maybe like sink water and stuff came through here, and the black water stuff from the toilets and stuff went down below. This could have been just water. I don't know. This is not my area of expertise, so I really don't know. So I have to leave that to her. So back up on the hill, right off here to my left, your right, we're thinking the septic system is gonna go right here, the new one. But the great news, as I just mentioned, is I don't have to do it this year. They shouldn't make me have to put it in now, because I'm not gonna use it now. I'm just gonna build the wooden structure, the 4 walls and a roof of the bathhouse, and then connect it eventually to the septic system. And the guy who'll be putting in my septic system, he would rather have my footings all in and the building starting to go up and erected before he would put a septic system, so he can put it down at the right level and have everything gravitationally go to the septic system. Now, because of the soil type I'm in here, I have to have a mound system. So the tank will be holding stuff down there, holding all the good and the bad and the gray and the black water and all that good stuff. And it's gonna be the holding tank. And then when it gets to a certain level and the pump goes on, it'll pump it uphill a little bit to the mound that's going to be back over there to the right of the poplar section. And that mound will be where all the waste and the water gets pumped up there and then goes down into the drain field. That's the kind of system that I have to have in my county here where Bonsai Acres is. So I just moved up and over a little bit. So back on the hill, I think I want to have that the bathhouse, the shower house. And the reason why is because on the other side of the poplar section, Toby would like to build a small A-frame someday, a little A-frame cabin. And then if he has an A-frame cabin, he can walk right to the bathhouse, the shower house to do his things, right? And then I will build my little cabin right here in front of this big old oak tree and this cottonwood that's dying. We'll get that down. We'll put the cabin over here, and I will have easy access right to the bathhouse. And then down there further, closer to the trees, there may be a greenhouse someday, or one of those work platforms type thing. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of the shower house there, and I'm thinking of the cabin right here. Again, for reference, there's the trees down there that I've been planting for a little while. And when you swing around here, I've got this section right here all cleared for a nice cabin amongst all the trees. Enough sun for some solar, but also some shade to keep the house cool in the summertime, right? And then up there was where the shower house will be. So cabin in here, shower house back there, A-frame for Toby back over there someday, and then the septic system all runs here. And then that, if we need water, it goes right to the pump house which is right there. And we're only about 100 yards from there. And that's, of course, if we get a good system flowing. If not, we'll have to put a new one in. Now, you've noticed I probably haven't said my daughter Jordan yet. What is she gonna build? I don't know. But when we talked about this place and there's enough room for multiple, there's a section over there, over yonder, past the trees, where it is another poplar forest. And if that forest has enough dry land, we could put it up a little bit on some foundation blocks, but we could have a nice little cabin snuggled in there inside all the poplars. Now that would be a heftier walk to the bathroom though, so we'll have to see. And who knows how many years away the kids will even want to start constructing something that they could call their little tiny cabin. But for me, I can't wait to start building. So with the good news with the septic system, I'm not feeling that I'm gonna have to do that this year. So I'm not gonna have to fork over thousands upon thousands of dollars, but I can just build 4 walls and a roof to get started. So all I want is 4 walls in a roof enclosed so it's weather resistant enough. So if I come up here in the colder weather, I can head in there and I just have shelter from the elements. Yeah, that was some good news. I was pretty pumped. I'm pretty excited. So right along this ridge line, when you come down to the property, I was able to drive my car down here. We'd have to widen it a little bit more to make it safer. But the trees end right over here. It gets bare over here. There's a lot of poplars trying to grow, and hopefully they'll get bigger and bigger. But I figure I have 2 of these more Christmas tree looking Koreans. I was thinking, why don't I just put them kind of right here? I might put a whole row of pine trees here at some point. I might even put some jack pines here. But if I put a couple of trees here along this ridge line, it kind of goes downhill. These trees also won't get as big as like your red and white pines will. So I think they would stop at maybe, well, I don't know. I guess I'd have to look that up. I'll have to look in Tom's book about the Korean fir. But I think they'll be a little bit lower in general. Plus I can keep them lower if I want to and keep pruning them. And these will take about 10 years to get about 10 to 12 feet tall. And then from up there where the cabin area is, up on that hill, these wouldn't block the view completely, but they would give a little bit more privacy. I was listening to a NPR news discussion this afternoon on my way up here that talked about jumping worms. Have you ever heard of such a thing called jumping worms? Apparently in the last 6 to 7 years, 6 to 8 years, they're in Minnesota now, and they're from Asia, and kind of like the Japanese beetle that creates havoc for us all. Apparently this jumping worm, they're so active, and so they wiggle around and squirm around a lot. If you had them in your hands, they literally would like kind of jump out of your hands because they wiggle around so much. And they're decimating some earth and creating erosion. And I think they're harming some plants. I forget what species they're harmful towards, but yeah, they're around apparently. Kind of weird. Jumping worm. Learned something new today on my way to Bonsai Acres. All right. I need some mulch, and then we'll go do tree number 2. I mentioned something the other day about putting trees in the ground. In 25 years, having some really cool trees in here, and well, that makes me pretty old, 25 years. But that my kids would be able to enjoy it and then think of their dad when they're here, sitting underneath a great big maple tree that I planted, pine tree that I planted, or the weeping willow that I'm gonna love so much. So, though our life path brings us on that path for certain reasons, and there's things beyond our control, there's a big part of me that is wishing that I would have taken a dive into this dream 20 years ago. Don't we all though, right? Hindsight is 20/20. If I knew then what I know now, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, there's only so much you can do in that situation. I found my passion later in life than I think we'd all like to. But then you got to take the positive outlook. I'm kind of a glass half full kind of guy, I think, and trying to maintain positivity throughout all this process and just life in general, through your ups and downs and your battles and your demons and all that. And I'm gonna enjoy this while I have it, whether the trees are a foot tall or 25 feet tall. And I'm gonna enjoy the journey, which is what I go back to all the time. It's on my website, bonsaiacres.com. You know, start your bonsai journey today. And maybe it'll be more than just a bonsai journey. Maybe it'll be some kind of journey to healing and peace, calm, serenity, all the things that we strive for, happiness, joy. It sure has brought that for me. So I'm going to put these trees in the ground, whether they're bonsai or not, and continue to grow this oasis. Bonsai Acres. Trees in the ground that could become bonsai, will become bonsai, or are just there for you and I to enjoy for the rest of eternity. I was able to put in a third row here. So the original row's out here, the other row back here, and this one is connected to this one. So I didn't have to go all the way around. And so I've got all these 11 more trees. So here we have 41 trees in all. I should be able to get another row in here and then close off the fence on just this side and that side, and then hopefully everything will stay out of there. But I'm going to go ahead and put some stakes in the ground next time when I have my hammer, because I forgot my hammer. So the wire is overlapped on the ground, so the rabbits would really have to work at it. I'm sure they'll get under it if they really want to, but no one touched them so far, so let's hope they stay there until I can get some stakes in the ground. As the sun is getting lower in the western sky, it's just about time to call it a day. As the twilight hours are upon us, it is time for me to take my walk. Last time I was up here, my stepfather and I were just a little too tired, and we didn't make it on the walk. But what a lot of people kept asking was, hey Dave, has the tree fallen yet? So we are on our little walk around the property for our final goodbye for today's trip. And we're gonna see. Ooh, I almost tripped right there. I'm tired, you can tell. So let's go see if the tree is still standing. Would you look at that? It's still standing. Does not want to come down. I guess you never can tell when a tree's going to go down. And for whatever reason, this one isn't quite ready yet. I do hope it falls when I'm not here, although it would be kind of cool to see. But I don't want that to happen, especially on one of my walks. I didn't see much wildlife on the trails today, or when I pulled into the property. Maybe next time. A lot of birds. I think a hawk or two on the drive-in. And as I circle back to where I started, we're at the hill where the new trees are. Fantastic. I've got some leftover pizza in the car, a bubbly, and maybe a snack or two. It's time to say goodbye to Bonsai Acres. As always, until soon. Welcome to Bonsai Acres. excited.